Let me tell you something. Most people are out here chasing the wrong thing. They're chasing money, approval, relationships, recognition, everything but the one thing that actually makes all of those things fall into place. And you know what that is? Themselves. See, the reason most people struggle isn't because they're not smart enough. It's not because they don't have opportunities. It's not even because they don't have the right connections. The real reason is they're distracted. They're too busy watching what everybody else is doing, comparing, worrying, trying to fit in. And because of that, they neglect the most important investment they could ever make, themselves. But here's the truth. When you focus on yourself, your mindset, your skills, your discipline, everything else starts to align. The money comes, the relationships get better, the doors open. Why? Because success is not something you chase. Success is something you attract by becoming the kind of person who commands it. Most people spend their entire lives searching for success in all the wrong places. They believe that if they can just make the right connections, land the right job, or get that one lucky break, everything will fall into place. They chase external validation, thinking that recognition from others will somehow make them feel worthy. But the truth is, success has never been about external factors. It has always been an inside job. What you see on the outside is just a reflection of what's happening on the inside. If you want to change your results, you have to start by changing yourself. Everything you desire, whether it's financial abundance, a thriving business, strong relationships, or personal fulfillment, will never come from chasing things outside of yourself. Money doesn't create success. It simply amplifies who you already are. If you don't have discipline when you're broke, you won't have discipline when you're wealthy. If you lack confidence now, no amount of external success will suddenly make you feel secure. That's why you see people who seemingly have it all still feeling empty, still sabotaging their own success, still searching for something more because they never built the foundation within themselves first. The real work begins internally. Your thoughts, your beliefs, your habits, and your mindset determine the life you create. If you think small, you will live small. If you believe you're not capable, you will never take the actions necessary to prove yourself wrong. Your subconscious mind is always working to confirm what you believe to be true. So if you see yourself as someone who struggles, someone who never catches a break, or someone who isn't meant for greatness, your actions will align with that belief and your results will reflect it. The cycle will continue until you make the decision to shift your thinking and elevate your self-mode. Most people wait for circumstances to change before they start believing in themselves. They say, once I have more money, then I'll feel confident. Or once I get the right opportunity, then I'll start putting in the work. But that's not how success works. It doesn't show up and then you become ready for it. You have to become the kind of person who attracts success before it ever appears in your life. You have to develop the mindset, the habits, and the skills before the results show up. When you shift your focus from chasing outcomes to becoming the kind of person who naturally produces success, that's when everything starts to change. Think about the most successful people in the world. They weren't waiting for permission and they weren't waiting for the perfect moment. They stepped into the version of themselves that was already successful long before the world recognized them. They believed in their vision before anyone else did. They saw themselves as capable before they had the proof. And because they focused on growing internally, on mastering their mind, their discipline, and their value, they became people who were ready when opportunities presented themselves. Success didn't make them who they were. They became who they needed to be first, and success followed as a result. If you're constantly seeking success outside of yourself, you'll always feel like you're falling short. You'll keep looking for the next big break, the next shortcut, or the next validation from others to tell you that you've made it. But the truth is, until you believe you're worthy, until you operate from a place of internal confidence and clarity, nothing external will ever be enough. You have to create success in your mind and in your daily habits before it materializes in your life. The internal work must come first. Every time you doubt yourself, every time you hesitate, every time you let fear keep you stuck, you are reinforcing the belief that you are not enough. And as long as you operate from that place, success will always feel just out of reach. But when you shift your focus inward, When you commit to developing your mindset, your skills, and your discipline, you will start to notice a change. You will begin to carry yourself differently. You will make decisions from a place of confidence rather than fear. And as you change internally, your external world will start to reflect that shift. Success is not something you find, and it's not something that happens to you by chance. It is something you become through intentional growth, self-discipline, and unwavering belief in yourself. Most people go through life pointing fingers. They blame their circumstances, their upbringing, the economy, their boss, their spouse, or even their past mistakes for where they are today. They convince themselves that if only things had been different, if only they had been given better opportunities, if only someone had helped them more, then their life would look completely different. But what they fail to realize is that as long as they hold on to those excuses, they are giving away their power. They are allowing external forces to dictate their future instead of taking full control of their own destiny. Responsibility is not about guilt or shame, it's about ownership. When you take full responsibility for your life, you are not blaming yourself or feeling bad about the past. You are simply acknowledging that no one else is in charge of your success or your failure except you. No one else is coming to save you. No one else is going to do the work for you, and no one else is responsible for changing your life. The moment you accept that, you shift from being a victim of circumstance to being the creator of your future. You stop waiting and start doing. You stop complaining and start solving. People who refuse to take responsibility often live in a cycle of frustration and stagnation. They keep waiting for the right time, the right opportunity, or the right conditions before they take action. But the truth is, there will never be a perfect moment. There will never be a time when everything is lined up exactly the way you want it. If you keep waiting for the world to change before you take action, you will stay stuck forever. The only way forward is to accept full responsibility for where you are and make the decision to move forward anyway, no matter what obstacles stand in your way. One of the biggest shifts you can make in your life is realizing that your problems are not unique. Everyone has struggles. Everyone has obstacles. Everyone has been dealt a hand in life, some better, some worse. But it is not the cards you are dealt that determine your future. It is how you play them. There are people who have come from worse circumstances than you, faced greater challenges than you, and still found a way to succeed. Why? Because they refuse to let their situation define them. They refuse to use their past as an excuse. They took full ownership of their lives, and because of that, they changed their reality. The easiest thing to do is blame others. It's easy to say, I didn't get that promotion because my boss doesn't like me. It's easy to say, I'm not successful because my parents never taught me about money. It's easy to say, I can't start a business because the economy's bad. But the hard truth is, every time you make an excuse, you are reinforcing the belief that you are powerless. And the more powerless you believe you are, the less likely you are to take the necessary actions to change your situation. The people who succeed in life are not the ones with the fewest obstacles. They are the ones who refuse to let those obstacles stop them. Taking full responsibility means recognizing that even if something isn't your fault, it is still your responsibility to fix it. Maybe you grew up in a household where no one taught you about success, discipline, or wealth. That's not your fault, but it is your responsibility to learn those things now. Maybe you were hurt, betrayed, or put in difficult situations by other people. That's not your fault, but it is your responsibility to heal, move forward, and refuse to let those experiences define you. The moment you take full ownership of your growth, your success, and your future, you take back control. The people who take responsibility for their lives operate at a completely different level. They don't waste time complaining because they understand that complaining solves nothing. They don't waste energy blaming others because they know that blaming does not lead to progress. Instead, they focus on solutions. They focus on what they can do rather than what they can't. And because of that, they move faster, grow stronger, and achieve more than the average person ever will. At the end of the day, you have two choices. You can keep making excuses, or you can make progress. You can stay stuck in the same patterns, or you can step up and take full control of your future. The decision is entirely yours. Most people are out here looking for opportunities, chasing money, and hoping for success without ever stopping to ask themselves a simple question: why should success come to me? They want to be wealthy, but they haven't developed the skills that create wealth. They want recognition, but they haven't put in the work to become someone worth recognizing. They want people to pay them more, respect them more, and give them more, but they haven't increased their value. The truth is, life doesn't give you what you want, it gives you what you earn. And what you earn is based on the value you bring to the marketplace, to your relationships, and to yourself. Value is the key to everything. If you are not valuable, you will struggle. You will struggle financially because no one pays for average. You will struggle in relationships because people gravitate toward those who bring something meaningful to the table. You will struggle with self-respect because deep down, you'll know you're not operating at your highest level. The only way to change that is to become more valuable, increase what you know, develop rare and useful skills, sharpen your character, and become someone who cannot be ignored. The more valuable you are, the more opportunities, wealth, and success will naturally find you. Most people focus on getting rather than becoming. They ask, how can I make more money? Instead of asking, how can I become the kind of person who commands more money? They ask, why don't people respect me? Instead of asking, how can I develop myself to the point where people have no choice but to respect me? Everything you want is on the other side of the value you create. If you want more, become more. If you want people to see you differently, show up differently. If you want doors to open, become the key that unlocks them. There are two kinds of people in this world: those who wait to be chosen and those who make themselves undeniable. The people who wait are constantly looking for validation. They want someone to pick them, promote them, recognize them. But the people who win in life don't wait for permission. They develop themselves so much that the world has to take notice. They become so skilled, so knowledgeable, so disciplined that they create their own opportunities. Instead of asking for a seat at the table, they build their own table and make sure it's the one everyone else wants to sit at. The problem is, most people want the rewards without the refinement. They want to be paid like an expert while thinking like a beginner. They want to be treated like a leader while avoiding responsibility. They want the success of a top performer while putting in the effort of an average person. And that's not how life works. Life pays you in proportion to the value you create. If you are struggling, if you feel stuck, if you're not where you want to be, ask yourself, what have I done to increase my value? Have you sharpened your skills? Have you expanded your knowledge? Have you disciplined yourself to operate at the highest level? Or are you hoping that success will just show up one day? Every successful person you admire has one thing in common: they invested in themselves before anyone else invested in them. They became valuable before they became wealthy. They mastered their craft before they were recognized. They spent years developing themselves before the world rewarded them. And that's why they can sustain their success, because they became the kind of person who deserved it. They didn't just chase success, they became the source of it. This is why shortcuts don't work. You can fake success for a while, but if you don't have the skills, the discipline, and the mindset to sustain it, it will slip through your fingers. Real success is built on a foundation of value. You don't just want to make money, you want to be the kind of person who knows how to create wealth anytime, anywhere. You don't just want respect, you want to carry yourself in a way that commands it without ever having to ask. That kind of power only comes when you have earned it through intentional growth. If you want to change your life, stop focusing on what's outside of you and start focusing on what's inside of you. Instead of looking for opportunities, become the opportunity. Instead of asking for more, become more. When you make yourself more valuable, life has no choice but to give you more in return. Most people think freedom means doing whatever you want, whenever you want. They believe freedom is about having no rules, no restrictions, no structure. But that's the biggest lie keeping people broke, stuck, and frustrated. Real freedom, the kind that allows you to live life on your own terms, doesn't come from doing less discipline. It comes from doing more of it. The most successful people in the world are not the ones who are the most talented, lucky, or connected. They are the ones who have mastered the art of discipline. Because discipline is the bridge between where you are and where you want to be. Without discipline, life will control you instead of you controlling your life. You'll wake up every day reacting instead of leading. You'll spend your time putting out fires instead of making progress. You'll drift through life hoping that success finds you instead of taking intentional steps toward your goals. A person without discipline is a slave to their emotions, their distractions, and their excuses. But the moment you take control of your habits, your time, and your focus, you break free from the limitations that keep most people stuck. People who lack discipline think they are avoiding discomfort, but in reality, they are creating more of it. When you avoid the discipline of saving money, you suffer the pain of financial stress. When you avoid the discipline of taking care of your health, you suffer the pain of sickness and low energy. When you avoid the discipline of working on your skills, you suffer the pain of being overlooked and underpaid. The pain of discipline is temporary, but the pain of regret lasts forever. The price of discipline is paid once, but the price of procrastination is paid for a lifetime. Discipline is not about restriction, it's about control. It's about training your mind and your body to work for you instead of against you. The person who can control their impulses, their emotions, and their actions is the person who can shape their own destiny. Discipline allows you to wake up early even when you don't feel like it. It allows you to put in the work even when you're tired. It allows you to stay focused when everyone else is distracted. And because of that, discipline creates options. It creates opportunities. It creates freedom. If you look at the most successful people in any industry, you'll notice one thing. They all have non-negotiable habits. They don't just work when they feel motivated. They don't just show up when it's convenient. They have trained themselves to operate at a high level every single day, regardless of circumstances. That's why they win. While everyone else is making excuses, they are executing. While everyone else is looking for shortcuts, they are mastering the fundamentals. Success is not about luck, it's not about talent, it's about consistently doing what most people won't do so you can live the way most people can't live. Most people look at discipline as something that takes away their freedom, but the truth is, discipline gives you freedom. When you discipline yourself to build wealth, you gain financial freedom. When you discipline yourself to take care of your body, you gain the freedom to live a long, healthy life. When you discipline yourself to master your craft, you gain the freedom to choose your own path instead of settling for whatever life hands you. The hard truth is you will either live with the short-term discomfort of discipline or the long-term suffering of regret. There is no in-between. Discipline is not something you are born with, it's something you build. Every time you make a commitment and follow through, you strengthen it. Every time you push through resistance instead of giving into comfort, you reinforce it. The more you train yourself to do what needs to be done, regardless of how you feel, the more powerful you become. And once you develop the habit of discipline, you will realize that nothing is out of your reach. Because now you are no longer controlled by excuses, distractions, or limitations. You are in control of yourself. There will never be a perfect time to start. There will never be an easy path. But if you are willing to embrace discipline, to push yourself beyond what is comfortable, and to commit to doing what most people refuse to do, you will experience a level of success, confidence, and freedom that most people will never know. Distractions are the silent killers of success. They don't come in the form of major disasters or obvious roadblocks. They creep in quietly, stealing your time, draining your focus, and keeping you busy instead of productive. Most people don't even realize how much of their life is being controlled by distractions. They think they are working hard, but in reality, they are constantly starting and stopping, shifting from one thing to another and never making real progress. The difference between those who succeed and those who struggle is not intelligence, talent, or luck. It's the ability to eliminate distractions and stay locked in on what truly matters. The world is designed to pull your attention in 100 different directions at all times. Your phone is buzzing, notifications are popping up, emails are demanding your attention, and social media is fighting to keep you scrolling. The average person spends hours every day reacting to these distractions instead of working toward their goals. They tell themselves they are too busy to pursue their dreams, but if they tracked where their time was actually going, they would see that distractions are stealing their future right in front of them. Until you take control of your attention, you will always feel like you're falling behind, no matter how hard you think you're working. Distractions don't just waste time, they destroy momentum. Every time you shift your focus from one task to another, you lose mental energy. It takes time to regain deep focus. And when you are constantly interrupted, you never reach the level of clarity and efficiency needed to produce great results. This is why some people can accomplish more in a few hours than others do in an entire week. They don't allow distractions to dictate their day. They set clear priorities, they create boundaries, and they protect their focus like their future depends on it. Because it does. Most people don't take distractions seriously because they don't see the long-term consequences. They think checking their phone every few minutes or watching a few extra hours of TV is harmless. But success is built or destroyed one small decision at a time. Every distraction is a decision. You are either choosing to stay focused or choosing to waste time. You are either moving toward your goals or away from them. There is no neutral ground. If you don't actively eliminate distractions, they will slowly take over your life, stealing your dreams, one notification, one interruption, and one excuse at a time. One of the biggest myths about distractions is that they are just about external things, phones, social media, emails, but the most dangerous distractions are internal. Fear, doubt, procrastination, and a lack of clarity can pull you away from your goals just as much as any notification. People often distract themselves on purpose to avoid doing the hard work that will lead to real success. They stay busy instead of productive, working on low-value tasks instead of doing the deep, meaningful work that actually moves the needle. Eliminating distractions isn't just about turning off your phone. It's about mastering your mind. Highly successful people don't have fewer distractions than everyone else. They have fewer excuses. They don't wait for the perfect conditions or blame the world for pulling their attention away. They take extreme ownership of their focus. They design their environment for success by removing temptations, setting clear goals, and creating routines that keep them on track. They know that the ability to concentrate on one thing for an extended period is a superpower in a world full of noise. And because they develop this skill, they produce results that average people can't even imagine. If you want to eliminate distractions, you have to be intentional. You have to decide in advance what you will and will not allow in your life. You have to create habits and systems that make it easier to stay focused and harder to get off track. This means setting boundaries, saying no to things that don't align with your vision, and training yourself to work without constant stimulation. At first, it will be uncomfortable because most people are addicted to distractions. But the moment you break free from that cycle, you will experience a level of clarity, confidence, and progress that will separate you from the masses. Your time, your energy, and your focus are your most valuable resources. If you don't protect them, they will be stolen from you by things that don't matter. If you don't control your attention, someone else will. If you don't eliminate distractions, they will eliminate your potential. Nobody is coming to save you. Nobody is going to hand you the life you want, pull you out of your struggles, or make success easy for you. Too many people spend their lives waiting for the right opportunity, waiting for someone to believe in them, waiting for a sign that it's time to take action. But waiting is just another form of fear. It's an excuse disguised as patience. The truth is, if you want your life to change, you have to change it. If you want to rise above your circumstances, you have to do the climbing. You are your own rescue plan, and the sooner you accept that, the sooner your transformation begins. People waste years hoping someone else will take responsibility for their success. They hope their boss will finally recognize their hard work and give them a raise. They hope their family will suddenly become supportive. They hope that one day luck will be on their side. But hope is not a strategy. You can't build a successful life on wishful thinking. You have to decide right now that no matter what has happened in your past, no matter what challenges stand in your way, you will take full control of your future. You can either sit in the passenger seat of your life or grab the wheel and drive yourself to where you want to go. Life will test you. It will throw obstacles in your path. It will push you to your limits, and it will demand that you prove how badly you want success. Most people fold under that pressure. They see difficulty as a sign to stop instead of a challenge to overcome. But the strongest people, the ones who build legacies, understand that adversity is not a stop sign. It is an invitation to rise. It is a fire that forges unshakable character, discipline, and resilience. Every hardship you've been through, every setback you've faced was not meant to break you. It was meant to build you. But that only happens if you stop looking for someone else to fix your life and start becoming the person who can fix it yourself. The moment you take full responsibility for where you are in life, you take back your power. It doesn't matter if your circumstances aren't fair. It doesn't matter if other people have had an easier path. What matters is what you do with what you've been given. Some of the most successful people in the world came from nothing. They had every reason to quit, every reason to make excuses, every reason to believe they were stuck. But they didn't. They decided that no matter where they started, they were going to write a different ending to their story. And they did, not because someone saved them, but because they saved themselves. Most people don't fail because they lack talent, intelligence, or opportunity. They fail because they refuse to take ownership of their lives. They wait for permission. They blame their circumstances. They cling to excuses. But every second spent making excuses is a second that could have been spent building a better future. The hard truth is nobody owes you wealth, happiness, or an easy life. But if you are willing to do the work, if you are willing to push through discomfort, if you are willing to become the kind of person who can handle success, nothing can stop you from achieving it. You have everything you need to change your life, but you have to be willing to use it. You have to stop underestimating yourself. You have to stop waiting for external validation. You have to stop looking at successful people like they have something you don't. The only difference between them and you is that they took action. They bet on themselves. They decided that no matter how hard it was, they were going to keep pushing forward until they made it. You can do the same, but it starts with a decision to stop waiting, stop blaming, and start building. The path won't be easy. There will be days when you feel like quitting. There will be moments when the progress seems too slow, the challenges seem too big, and the temptation to go back to your old ways is strong. But that is the moment where winners are made. The people who succeed are not the ones who never struggle. They are the ones who refuse to let struggle define them. When everyone else quits, they keep going. When everyone else makes excuses, they find solutions. And that is why they win. If you want success, if you want freedom, if you want a life that makes you proud, stop waiting for someone else to create it for you. No one is coming to rescue you because you are your own rescue plan. Everything you need is already inside you, the vision, the strength, the ability. The only thing missing is your decision to step up and use it.